It's just past midnight, somewhere in the middle of a black, freezing ocean, and a man is climbing a rope up the hull of a moving ship he is not supposed to be on. Soaking wet, shaking with cold, a rifle strapped across his back, with no idea what's waiting at the top. That man is a United States Navy SEAL, and what you're looking at is the final hour of his workday. To understand how he ended up on that rope, and why fewer than 3,000 men on the entire planet are trusted to do this job, we're going to rewind the clock a full 24 hours, back to 4 o'clock that same morning. Because almost nothing about a SEAL's day looks the way the movies told you. The hardest parts aren't the parts with the guns, and the single most dangerous hour is the one almost no one ever sees. Stay with me, and I'll walk you through the whole 4 in the morning. A bell rings somewhere deep inside a warship pitching in heavy seas. There's no sunrise to wake up to down here, no window at all, just stacked metal bunks and the constant hum of recycled air. And the first thing this SEAL does, before his feet even hit the deck, is drink close to a pint of water, because that recycled shipboard air is brutally dry and he's already dehydrated from the day before. On deployment, there's no such thing as starting the day fresh. By 4:30, he's training, but there's no gym out here and no open ground to run on, just a stretch of steel deck a few dozen yards long. So to log a single mile, he runs lap after tight lap around it, dozens of them in the dark, on a deck that won't hold still. Then come the push-ups, the pull-ups, the air squats, the flutter kicks, hundreds of reps, a solid 90 minutes of it, before most people back home have hit the snooze button once. And here's the thing to understand. This is still the easy part of his day. 6 o'clock, he gets a shower, and on a warship that has to manufacture its own fresh water, that shower lasts about 4 minutes, start to finish. Then he eats, and he eats seriously. 4 or 5 eggs, oatmeal, fruit, black coffee, close to 1,000 calories before 7 in the morning. It sounds like a feast. It isn't nearly enough. On a hard operational day, a SEAL's body can burn 4,000 to 5,000 calories. And if he doesn't keep fuel coming, his own body will start breaking down muscle just to keep him moving. But the food isn't what's on his mind this morning, because at 7 o'clock, the team finds out who they're going after tonight. 16 men file into a briefing room. That's a full SEAL platoon, the largest unit they'll normally commit to a single mission. And for the next 2 hours, they take a target apart. A ship out there in the dark, somewhere over the horizon. How big it is, who's aboard, how many, how it's defended, where a small boat could slip alongside unseen. By the end of those 2 hours, every man in the room can picture the inside of a vessel he has never once set foot on. Its passageways, its ladders, its blind corners, as clearly as the house he grew up in. Every detail studied, argued over, and burned into memory. And to even be sitting in that room, each of these men survived a training pipeline so punishing that roughly 3 out of every 4 people who start it never finish. Which is a big part of why, in a country of more than 300 million, there are only around 2,500 active Navy SEALs at any given moment. Then they rehearse, out loud, over and over, until every man knows not just his own job, but every other man's job too. The goal is chilling in its simplicity. By the time they launch, any one of them could finish the entire mission alone if everyone around him went down. And then they drill the small things that decide a night like this. They tear their rifles apart and rebuild them blindfolded, by feel alone. Because under real stress, once your heart rate climbs past about 145 beats a minute, the fine motor control in your fingers starts to fail, and the deck of an enemy ship is no place to be fumbling with your weapon. Radios and encrypted channels get tested, and the corpsman, the team's medic, checks the gear that exists for the worst night of someone's life. The tourniquets, the chest seals, the trauma kits. After lunch comes an hour that looks almost meditative. Each man lays his gear out and goes through it piece by piece. Every magazine checked, every spring, every round. Night vision goggles cleaned and battery tested. Their diving rebreathers, the closed systems that let them swim in without sending a single telltale bubble to the surface. Pressure tested and checked, because a failure there isn't a malfunction, it's a drowning. And a single stream of bubbles breaking a calm surface can give away an entire team, so the margin for error is 0. Nothing is assumed, everything is checked by hand. By the time he's done, he's accounted for every ounce he'll carry on his own body. Armor, ammunition, water, dive gear. Because once he's in the water, no one is handing him a spare. And then they're handed an order that sounds easy and is almost impossible to obey. Lie down and sleep. It isn't a suggestion, it's mandatory. Because a half second of hesitation tonight, born of nothing but exhaustion, can be the difference between everyone coming home and someone not. So they lie in the dark, hearts still running hot, trying to bank rest they know they'll need. Dinner is built like fuel, not like a meal. Slow-burning carbs, healthy fats, and a hard push on water and electrolytes. Because once a man is sealed inside a wetsuit and working, he can sweat off a liter or more every hour without ever feeling thirsty, and a dehydrated seal is a slow seal. Everything he puts in his body tonight, he's eating for what's coming. Everything up to now has been preparation. At nightfall, the mission actually begins, and this is where the day turns genuinely dangerous. They pull on wetsuits, body armor, magazines, blades. The platoon leader walks them through the night one last time, minute by minute. And then a rigid inflatable boat, barely 36 feet of hull, 8 men aboard, drops into the black water and opens up to nearly 40 knots. What that ride is actually like is something footage can never capture. The boat doesn't glide, it slams. Every wave is a hammer blow straight up through the spine, over and over, for the whole length of the run. Spray soaks men who are already cold. And out there in the wind and the dark, their core temperature begins to slide, quietly, dangerously, toward hypothermia before they've even reached the target. There are no lights out there, no horizon to fix your eyes on, nothing but the black shape of the next wave rearing up out of the dark. And the job, for the length of that run, is simply to endure it. To sit there frozen and battered and stay sharp enough to step off the boat, ready to fight the instant it stops. The mission hasn't even begun, and it's already trying to break them. Then the boat eases alongside a ship in pitch black. A hook and a thin ladder go up the hull, and this is the moment we started with. One by one, freezing, exhausted, completely exposed, they climb up out of the sea and onto a deck that isn't theirs. And here's the part the movies get wrong. It isn't loud and it isn't fast. It's slow and silent and almost unbearably controlled. In a tight single file, they move through the ship, clearing it space by space, corner by corner for 2 or 3 hours, photographing, logging, and time-stamping everything they find, securing anyone aboard. Discipline, not gunfire, is the whole game. The best version of this night is the one where nothing dramatic happens at all. Around 1 in the morning, it's over, and all the exhaustion they've been holding back comes crashing in at once. They slide down the ropes into the boat, and by now the cold has truly set in. Fingers numb, breathing tight, bodies shaking as the boat runs them back to the ship, right on the edge of clinical hypothermia. Back aboard, the order is immediate. Wetsuits off, dry clothes on, now. The corpsman hunts for the injuries adrenaline has been hiding. A sprain, a gash, a knock to the head from that brutal boat ride. Weapons are stripped and cleaned within the hour. And then, as wrecked as they are, they sit down and rebuild the entire night out loud. What worked, what didn't, what they'd change. And a written report goes up the chain of command before anyone is allowed to truly rest. No one out here is chasing glory. The ones who are good at this treat the most dangerous night of the month like a job, done quietly and done right. And so, at 4 in the morning, exactly 24 hours after that first bell, the man we met climbing a rope in the dark finally lies down. He'll get a few hours of sleep, maybe 5. And then the same 24 hours repeats day after day for the 6 to 8 months a deployment lasts. Then the bell rings again, because out here, this isn't the hard day, it's just the day.